Welcome, guys, to Season 3, Episode 7. Unfortunately, I will not be doing a video version of my podcast. I am trying a new version of it. I'm going to stay audio-based, as for it gives me more time to actually focus on the content itself, and obviously it's a podcast. I've discovered a new tool to where it's still going to be technically a video, and I will be still uploading to all the platforms that I'm on already, so no worries, the podcast is still going. I've just chose to do it in a different fashion now, and I just rather just not do the whole show my face thing. It takes up a lot of time and setup, and it's really difficult and time consuming, and this to where I can create more content a lot faster and not have to worry about how things look. So Albert Pujols now is on the Los Angeles Dodgers. That was a good pickup for them, to have someone come off the bench, just a solid, resume from him, obviously, from his career already in the league. And, he's proved out he's struggling, and, he's at the tail end of his career. He got released by the Angels, and here he is now in, let's be honest, a World Series contender team. The NL West is a little shocked, I think, by the teams that are doing well. They didn't really expect the Giants to come up and do this well. They are on a 3-team battle for first in the NL West, and them picking up Albert Pujols is a pretty big deal because he could give them the edge in big moments. He's a power hitter. He can hit the long ball, and that just improved their offense. Now, is he like the same Albert Pujols that he was, let's say, 10 years ago? No, but you know what? He's still Albert Pujols. He's got that power. He's got that it factor. So they do have that advantage having him on their team. Let's dive into this Aaron Rodgers drama. I don't know what happened with the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers, but he is very upset. I think everyone basically has a pretty good general idea on why he is upset. And if the Packers are surprised by that, then they have bigger issues. So, with that being said, Aaron Rodgers clearly has put out that he wants help. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, they tend to do the complete opposite from what I have seen. He needs a O-line. Not necessarily a better O-line, but they need like younger, better guys on the O-line. And they keep just drafting in the opposite direction. Like he'd say O-line, they get a receiver. I.e., last year, I need an offensive weapon. What do they get? They get Jordan Love in the first round. They didn't really need a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers isn't really at the end of his career. I'd say he's got a solid 4 or 5 left in him. But they're like preparing for the future when they don't necessarily have to yet. So with that being said, Aaron Rodgers has expressed his disgruntled self to the media now, and it's blowing up all over the place. And at this point, I think he has the right to say what he wants to the media because of what has happened, and they need to basically try and fix the situation. But it seems to be Aaron Rodgers might not even show up this season. He may or may not end up on another team. He may shock a bunch of people and end up on another team, which changes everything for game plan wise for other teams if he does end up on another team. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to sit out until about preseason and show up. But the thing is they're gonna that causes a whole nother issue, is if they even want him at that point. But the Packers are preparing to play without Aaron Rodgers. And honestly, that is their fault. He has expressed what he wanted. He wants O-line. He wants better. He wants more weapon. He just wants a better offensive side of the ball. And don't get me wrong, he has weapons. He has a good backfield. He has a receiver to throw to. That's the thing, is he only has one of each. He doesn't have a second option or a tight end. And in the past, he has thrived with having a tight end and having that second, third option. They've had plenty of opportunity to have a power super team, and they have yet to freaking do it. Now, I've been watching a little bit of the NBA playoffs, and to see the Warriors get knocked out by playing a play-in tournament, a lot of people have spoke and said that the play-in tournament was a bit of a bust. There was only 2 good games, they said, out of the play-in tournament, and that was whoever the Warriors were playing, and they gave the most competition. And for it to be a single game elimination, I think is a little rough. As for the whole rest of the playoffs, is not single game elimination. I mean, it is and it isn't. You know, the loser played the following worst seed, but it didn't. The process of elimination of the play-in tournament, I think, was a total fail. As for, there was really only 2 competitive games out of all of the games that were played, and that was the Warriors and Lakers in Memphis. And Memphis proved out to be a lot better than what their record has shown, and their track record for the whole season has shown. And I think the play-in tournament gave them some luck, because without the play-in tournament, Memphis wouldn't be in it at all. Like, at all. They had a losing season. They didn't play that great, and they decided to show up when it was time to show up. And you know what? Sometimes that's all you need, is you need to show up when it's time. And they got lucky, and they were handed a play-in tournament to make it into the NBA playoffs. And now the Warriors are knocked out, and some other teams that possibly wouldn't have been knocked out if it wasn't for the play-in tournament. I think some teams wouldn't have lasted long either way without the play-in tournament, but it seems to be there's some hungrier teams out there now that the playoffs have kicked off. It looks like LeBron and the Lakers are in playoff mode. They seem to be to kick it up a notch. They're holding their ground. They're showing that they are the defending champions and possibly going to be the champions again. But they had a rough start to the first round, and now they're up 2-1, I believe. And Memphis is holding their ground, too, in the playoffs, which is, I think, a shock to a lot of people. And then there's some teams that are not doing so hot, you know, like the Phoenix Suns. They were expected to be really good. Utah's struggling. And I think, and not to mention, the fan bases are going crazy. They've had multiple issues piling on within the last few games. I think it's the excitement of being able to be at the games in person again. People are starting to act out a little bit. They're not controlling themselves. They're getting overly excited, and I think that'll simmer down over time. Obviously, those people's actions that were caught on camera and seen by a lot of people, and the players had to hear some things that they shouldn't have heard. And I think that, those people obviously got banned for indefinitely, unfortunately, you know. But that you got to pay the consequence sometimes for acting a fool, and you got to conduct yourself as an adult when you're out in public. So that's all I really have to say. I don't really know I don't want to talk about like what was said, what wasn't. It doesn't really matter. But those people's actions were wrong, and they obviously probably learning from it now, because now they can't go to those games anymore. Adam Vinatieri retired from the NFL at the age of 48. He's the NFL all-time scoring leader, and I think that sucks for Colts. That was their guy, their kicker for a very, very long time. Obviously, he's calling it quits. He doesn't really need to play anymore. He played 24 seasons. And yeah, so he's calling it a career. And we're getting closer and closer to the NFL season kicking off. The OTAs kicked off. Aaron Rodgers so far is the only notable holdout to not show up. Other than that, some teams are still signing some players late right now, as for they're starting the season, obviously. And yeah, there's a lot of teams right now that are gonna make a move, I think, for Julio Jones if the offer is right. Julio Jones is obviously wanting out of Atlanta. He has expressed his uneased, I don't even know what to call it. He's not happy with them either. He feels as if they are not setting themselves up for success anymore. And you know what? He says he wants to win. Obviously, he wants a championship, and he was on that Atlanta Falcons team that blew out a whole three score lead and threw away the whole game to the Patriots a few years back. And you know, I think he feels as if he deserves a ring. He doesn't want to say that outright. Media kind of has attacked him and, you know, twisted his words and the way he is as a personality wise. I think they're trying to blow up this whole situation. As for, are we going to get the same Julio Jones if he goes to another team? Blah, 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 blah. A lot of players are like, hey, this is Julio Jones. Like, even if he isn't the same, he still makes a difference. He could still teach and, you know, he has that veteran aspect to him. So he's going to be able to help out and change and make change. Player coach, you know, he's out there on the field. He can make the corrections if he sees mistakes or if he needs to on the spot correction, constructive criticism for the players that are coming into the league. He can teach them some things that they should know, that they don't know, that they need to know for the NFL. Yeah, it was a tongue twister a lot. So yeah. And then the whole Tim Tebow situation, I just seen the media could like put a little conspiracy theory of Jacksonville Jaguars are thinking about using him how the Saints used Taysom Hill. Here's the thing. How did no one see this? Tim Tebow clearly seen his own opportunity based on what Taysom Hill is doing. They're like a spitting image of each other. Taysom Hill is this generation's Tim Tebow. The Saints are just not using him as a quarterback as much as they probably could. Taysom Hill is just an athletic freak, and so is Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is probably going to do the same thing as what Taysom Hill does. And now they're talking about letting him take snaps as quarterback. Like, come on. The dude was a quarterback before all of this whole tight end talk. How did you not see, hey, let's let him take some snaps at quarterback? Like, yeah, you got a rookie. You got actually two rookies. You got, I think, one freaking, what's his name? Minshew. He's on his second or third year, I'm going to say. I'm going to say it's his third year coming in. He's obviously that Jacksonville doesn't really have a whole lot of faith in him. As for they drafted Trevor Lawrence, but what other choice did they have? They had the number one pick. So, should Trevor Lawrence be a day one starter? Probably not. As for, you know, it's his first year, but I don't know. Joe Burrow was day one starter, but things didn't go his way as the season went on for him. So there's a lot going on with the Jaguars. They probably have a special offensive package to where Tim Tebow is going to take some snaps, Trevor Lawrence takes some snaps. They got a 3 quarterback situation to where all three can take snaps. Now, Trevor Lawrence might be the main QB1, as where he'll be taking, let's say, 60%. You got Tebow at 10% and Minshew at 30%. Depending on, I feel like it depends on what plays they want to run, yada, yada, yada. Minshew might do the more, he might come in for maybe the first half, start the game off, and Trevor Lawrence kind of comes in after the first series and takes the rest of the game. Maybe at the beginning of the season, let Minshew start the season off, and then Trevor Lawrence. I feel like they should battle out who should have the starting spot, because NFL is a whole nother animal compared to college ball. Some players break under pressure when they get up to this higher level, so we'll have to see. Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent, so he's obviously should be considered the starter just based on the fact of his success that we have seen. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for this week's episode. I know somebody said, hey, you should probably talk about some current events. I haven't really seen anything. I'm not too big on talking on current events, but I guess I'll talk about some things that I have seen, personally. But to see these people, that everyone, to be honest, freak out over the gas was that was interesting. Me personally, I just so happened to have a full tank when that happened. Didn't really, out here in the Midwest, out in Kansas, I didn't really see the shortage a whole lot, at least where I'm at. But I've heard some people, the gas station just straight up said out. It obviously didn't last very long based on what I've seen. Gas prices are dropping back down from what I've seen today, being out and about and stuff, driving around town. But yeah, that is my one, I guess, current event that I would talk about for a minute or two. And yeah, things have been interesting around the world. The mask mandate has been lifted in a lot of areas, and I don't think people know what to do. They're just like, some stores are asking, leave it on, due to liability issues, and then some places are like, we don't care. It's an option. Based on where I live, it seems to be not really enforced unless you're in a retail store. Other than that, like, it's like, go get the vaccine, in my opinion. I know some people are real skeptical about getting the vaccine. Yeah, I've heard multiple things. I'm getting my second shot here in about a week, and I'm just ready for normalcy, So that pretty much wraps up my spiel on everything going on. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys like this version of the podcast more. I feel like I'm able to dig into my thoughts a little bit more and focus on talking more than worrying about the visuals of things. But if you guys have any suggestions on things to talk about, go ahead and let me know. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It'll be up on YouTube. It'll be on all the listening platforms as usual. And that's it. Thank you for listening. Hey everyone, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me go ahead and explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. It's not hard at all. Go ahead and check it out.